Hello everyone from my usual spot in downtown Denver. Give you the typical disclaimer that I always put out there, which is I never know what noises are going to show up while I'm filming, so bear with me and just enjoy and embrace the fact that I am in downtown Denver and all kinds of urban excitement can happen. I first of all wanted to let the contest winners know their boxes are going out today. I have one right here. Hi, Jenny Salimi. Those boxes will get in the mail probably realistically tomorrow. Since I'm actually getting them out today, they'll probably really be on their way tomorrow. And I don't want to spoil too many of the surprises that they're getting, but I did want to mention for the contest winners and other ENSOMA members, if you received the box called Sarah's Story, you got some really cute creamer and sugar bowl in it. Well, I decided, since I don't really use sugar all that much for my tea and coffee and such, I turned my sugar bowl into a little vase, which I keep lavender in. So just wanted to throw that out there in case those who already have it or our three winners who will soon have it were looking for something a little bit different to do with that other than a sugar bowl. That's just another idea. So welcome, and a little bit about me for those who don't know. I was in the corporate behavior change and wellness industry for about 20 years and decided that although I loved working in that field, I wanted to bring my experience and knowledge and depth of information to more directly to individuals. Hello, Aaron Sell. Good to see you too. Welcome back from Germany. And so if you're watching this Facebook Live video, its intent is to bring you small and intelligent and actionable ways that you can make some changes in your own life and perhaps inspire others to lead a happier and more well-balanced life. So I hope you find some things in this that might be of use to you. I would also love to hear from you about topics you're interested in, things you're struggling with, questions you have, and I will certainly do my best to incorporate them into future Facebook Live videos. I wanted to take a brief moment to talk about last week's topic. It was around staying humble and how making small gestures can make a big difference in people's lives. I told the story of the gentleman who had bought me a lemon and the story of how my mother had complimented the people during Hurricane Irene who were trying to help make sure everyone got fed. Well, one more story along those lines. This past week I went to the Avalanche hockey training camp where all the players are getting ready and training for the upcoming season. And these are, fairly well-known, some of them fairly well-known professional athletes. And there's one who's going through a particularly rough time right now, not knowing if he's going to stay or go. And he's one of our major players in the Colorado Avalanche. So those of you who are into hockey may know who I'm referring to. I was with a friend of mine who is a big fan of the Avalanche, and she decided that she, for her own purposes, but also for his, wanted to write him a letter that just expressed how much she had appreciated him being part of the team and what he must be going through now with this uncertainty in his future, and just how difficult it is not knowing if you're going to stay with your teammates, if you're going to have to move to a new town, and just the uncertainty of the situation must be eating away at him. So she wrote him this very lovely personal letter just on a piece of paper, handwritten, nothing fancy, but very heartfelt. I read it and I really had tears in my eyes just reading her sentiments to him, and managed to give it to him as he was going into lunch with the rest of his teammates. This is somebody who has hundreds of thousands of admirers, you wouldn't think of the biggest sports star you know of yourself and think of handing this person a letter just saying how much they meant to you. He came out afterwards and sought her out and said, "You have no idea how much that meant to me, especially right now. It means more than I can even explain to you." we don't really know. I was there with her while she was doing this, and so we don't really know exactly what's going on in his world, but the fact that she took a bit of her own time just to express how much he meant to her and how he had impacted her life clearly meant more to him than all of the media attention and other types of accolades. So just a quick way to say, even if you think somebody is sort of beyond your reach, or it might feel goofy or a little funny to give them a compliment or let them know what they've meant to you, do it anyways, because you never know in the moment that that person is experiencing what that gesture could mean. Very touching for me to see that connection with them. Today's topic is about the word no. Such a tiny little word. It's a complete sentence unto itself. No. Not gonna happen. So much around that small word and that sentiment. This is a topic I expect that I'm going to have a bit more to say on. So for today, I'm going to keep it fairly high level, fairly short, because I want to really touch on why this topic is important. I will go in a little bit into some techniques that I think could be useful, but for the most part, my goal is to keep these Facebook Live videos a little bit shorter, around 10 minutes or less. So today I'm going to keep it to why is saying no so important. And some of this may resonate with you and some may not. So I would also always encourage you, I love to hear your comments. I love to understand your perspective on some of these topics and hear how you may use the advice or advice you may have for others too. We all have good information to share. One of the reasons saying no and having the ability to say no is so important is that otherwise, inevitably, other people's priorities, we'll call them OPPs, not down with OPPs, other people's priorities will take precedence over your own. And the thing that gets tricky around this is that typically the other priorities that come into your life are not necessarily from your close friends or your family or people that care about you. It tends to be more often acquaintances, organizations that monopolize these requests and these time, and maybe people you don't even know, people who reach out to you through social media, other aspects. These aren't necessarily folks who are interested in your well-being and in your best interests. They have their own agenda, their own priority, and they're looking for you to help them advance that. So never forget that that's the perspective that many of these requests that come into your life for your time, your money, your experience, your skills, they're coming from the perspective of someone else's priorities and agendas who don't necessarily even know you that well and probably don't really have your focus, your priorities in mind. They really aren't invested in your well-being. So it's important to remember that every time you say yes to something of that nature, you're saying no to other things in life that you're not going to be able to do. Leaving room even. So even if you just don't want to say yes, or because you don't have a particular thing in mind, you know, oh, I'm doing this instead of that. Even if it's just, I need to say no to more things because I want to leave space in my life for spontaneity, for new people, to have new experiences, try something, or even just relax, de-stress. Don't get depleted and burned out. Many of the times, things that other people are asking to do that are on their agenda aren't necessarily going to energize you or fulfill you or excite you or bring you new skills. You know yourself better than anyone. You know the types of things that make you feel fulfilled, that give you that, oh, I want more of this feeling. If you're not saying no to the things that are not in that category, there's a double negative for you. If you're not saying no to them, how are you going to make room for those things? The things you get to do in life are because of the things you're not doing. So just sit with that for a minute. It's kind of a weird expression, but the things that you are getting to do in life, be they good or bad or draining or exciting, are because of the things you are choosing not to do. It's not always obvious that that's the case when you're in the heat of the moment and somebody's asking you for a favor or for your time, or can you step up and organize this, or so on. One thing to consider, so hopefully that's enough on why it's important to be able to say no intelligently, gracefully, from a socially aware standpoint. We'll talk more about that probably next week. But it's for not only your own mental health, but for your life. What are you going to get to do by not doing something else? So here's just another mindset as you go through your week to contemplate. What if you start every answer, every request from the default of no? So many of us are caring, nurturers, leaders. We want to help each other. We're engaged in our community. So it's very easy to start life from the yes. I'm a yes person. Every time somebody comes to me, do you want to do this? Can you get involved with that? Do you want to go to this? My default is yes. Oh, I'd love to. Let's get out there and live life and make this happen. I will be the classic overcommitter. So sometimes I really need to check myself and start from a standpoint of no. That doesn't mean I'm telling the person no. They may ask, you want to go out and do this weekend, XYZ, whatever that is. Go to the farmer's market. Let's just say that's the example. My immediate reaction, oh, sure, yeah, that sounds great. I need to sometimes step backwards and say, okay, I'm going to say no, not to the person. I'm having this conversation in my head. Unless I can make a compelling case for why I should say yes to this. So what if for this next week, when somebody asks you to do something, be it at work, at home, in your community, internally, you start from a place of no. And then you need to say, okay, no, I don't want to go to the farmer's market. But does that align with, am I trying to eat healthier? Will going there help me? Am I trying to wake up earlier and reset my clock? Am I trying to get outside more and enjoy the air and connect with people? Do I really want that cheese that they sell at this one stand down there? Not that I need more cheese in my diet. So I talk myself to a place of yes. And by the time I say yes, I know my reasons for saying yes, and I know how this is going to serve me. The other option to think about is a reduced yes. If somebody asks you something that might take a significant amount of your time, can you volunteer for this charity event? We would love for you to head up the committee to do the promotions for it. I would love to help the charity. I would love to be involved, but no, I can't head it up. I can give you an hour of my time a week. Is there something I could do that would be valuable to you in an hour a week? So no is not as black and white as it always seems. Start from a place of no and talk yourself into a yes. That way you'll know that what you're committing to is meaningful. Consider giving someone a reduced yes. Maybe they wanted to meet for coffee so they could pick your brain about something and say, well, I can't necessarily get out and meet you for coffee, but maybe we could do a 15-minute phone call. So put yourself in a position of thinking through your focus, your priorities, and the fact that everything you say yes to dictates the things you're not going to be able to do that week, which builds up into that month, that year, and your life. These small decisions create momentum for where you end up in life. So more on this topic next week. I'm going to delve into a little bit about why we tend to want to say yes instead of no. Why for most people that's our default. There's a lot going on underneath the surface on that one. Some of it having to do if we're worried about what other people might think about us. Some of it having to do with the communal nature of being human. And I'm going to give a little bit more advice on how to say no. There's so many different ways beyond just starting from a place of no and talking yourself to yes and giving a reduced yes. So I'll go a little bit more into some examples of that. And finally, please, if you know someone who might benefit from these videos, I really appreciate it and feel very grateful when you share them with others and get the word out, because I'm passionate about these topics. I'm passionate about helping people, and I would love to connect with anyone who feels like they could benefit from either the topics I discuss on here or some direct time with me. I will, as usual, put the link in the comments below to schedule a half hour to chat with me about anything, and would love to connect with anybody who just wants to share a story or talk about whatever may be on your mind. So my challenge to you, aside from catching yourself, like Jenny said, if you're a yes person too, practice your no's, your soft no's. My other challenge to you is to try to make someone else's day a little bit better, because you never know what it will mean to them. And if you can't make someone else's day a little better, at least try to make your own a little bit better. And you already have done that for me just by watching this. So thank you. I appreciate all the connections, and I will be here same time, same place next week. Bye, everyone.